And now for more, we welcome to studio Brigadier General in the Reserves, Israel Relik Shafir, former commander at the Tel Nof Air Force Base and former combat pilot in the Israeli Air Force. Thank you so much for being here. Let's start with the developments unfolding up north in the past hour. That major barrage of rockets sent from southern Lebanon towards northern communities. And we just heard from Zach there how the IDF has been targeting specifically sites in Baalbek in southern Lebanon. Your take at what is unfolding as we speak?
There was earlier, before that attack, an attack on an Air Force command post at the Meron Hill. It wasn't successful, but attacked an Israeli post, Air Force post. And you can see the attack in Baalbek, which is the major area where the Shias live. And it's the back office, so to speak, of Nasrallah. It was hit by the Israeli Air Force. In this particular barrage is a retaliation for that. So it's not different from what we saw the last few days, where occasionally there's a sprout of fire and hitting back and forth. But the status quo is still there and is still kept. For quite a while, there hadn't been Israeli casualties up north. Have to remember that. And so things are as abnormal as we're used to in the last few months.
Abnormal indeed. This certainly is an unusual status quo, so to speak. I want to turn our attention to Qatar because there is much focus on what is happening in terms of the negotiations there. There were reports that some of the negotiating team from Israel had been brought back, but there are other reports, i24 News hearing from sources that some of the team staying on there to keep the discussions going. Why should Hamas reach a compromise after that resolution at the UN Security Council overnight? Why should they?
Well, it's an interesting deal between Israel and Hamas on who's the last man standing. Israel, or at least the Prime Minister's strategy, he's unable, maybe because of pressures from the right to topple his government, to show any latitude, such as, for instance, as we know, the UN resolution was coming up and everybody had known that the U.S. is not going to veto it. So Israel could have preceded that and say, well, in the next 2 weeks of Ramadan, we're holding our fire. A little bit of smart negotiations, a little bit of a Kissinger-type negotiations. But unfortunately, Israel is at a position internally and externally where it's not able, because of all kinds of political pressures, inside pressures, to show any strategic, I would say, wisdom in the forthcoming events that are well known, and anticipate them and maybe kind of try to topple them by having a smart move, such as the one we've just talked about. But the big question is the day after. This is what aggravates the United States, Britain, and France. What is Israel's resolution or ideas for the day after? Israeli cabinet refuses to put that out, probably for internal reasons. And so we'll keep on suffering in that arena from day to day. And it's a sad moment to recognize that.
I want to add in a new development that is happening. Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh has arrived in Tehran. He's heading a top-level Hamas delegation for talks with Iranian officials. The trip to the Iranian capital coming after the terror group rejected that latest truce offer during hostage deal negotiations in Qatar. State media in Iran describing the visit as significant. Talk to us about your assessment, the magnitude of this kind of discussion right now inside Tehran. Ismail Haniyeh and the hostage deal discussions are ongoing. Your thoughts?
Well, it seems like Iran is now reaping the benefits of holding the horses back, in that the Houthis have downplayed their activities. Same thing with Iraq. I'm putting aside the ISIS in Syria that had been attacked. So they feel that their work is being done by the West in Israel, and they can hold back and see who's the last man standing. Because so far, the fact that Israel has not entered Rafah, and at least strategically, Hamas is looking that it is going to be the last man standing, or at least it had put its agenda on the table so that it is quite well accepted in the West. We're talking about a two-state solution and solving the Palestinian question. It's on the table, and Israel is not able to respond well to that challenge. And so they're holding on because what they're seeing is that the sympathy in the Western world is leaning towards the Palestinians with all the activities that are instigated in the West, demonstrations, etc. So at this point in time, I think Iran is calling Hamas maybe to hold even a little longer and strengthen them. That might be an interesting point to make.
An interesting point, a worrying one as well. I've got 30 seconds left. Yoav Gallant is still in Washington. Big meetings. He's trying to quell tensions as these talks continue in Qatar. Your thoughts, your level of cautious optimism around any kind of breakthrough out of Doha, realistically?
It looks like Gallant is thinking about Israel, and his counterparts in the Likud are looking for their internal ability to hold the offices. Quite sad.